2 decades ago, a group of Republicans and Democrats joined David Barron over dinner to meet with Mike Fay, a Wildlife Conservation Society naturalist who at the time had just returned from the Congo Basin. Mike had just spent 465 days and hiked an impressive 2,000 miles. Mike's message was one that resonated with everyone at the table that night. One of the Earth's last great wilderness areas was on its way to extinction. Ivory and bushmeat poachers, loggers, and other criminal networks were exploiting its riches, destroying the basin's habitat and funding criminal activities that came to threaten U.S. national security.
Members of Congress such as Rob Portman, Sheldon Whitehouse, Tom Udall, and Ed Royce, they came together early on and sponsored the passage of what is today considered a milestone in international conservation legislation. They put an end to the trade of illegally harvested and endangered wood by amending the Lacey Act. And they made popular the Debt for Nature swap through the Tropical Forest Conservation Act, which, still effective today, continues to protect over 67 million acres of forest.
So a nonprofit organization was created to underpin these bipartisan efforts, to support our congressional leadership, to keep us grounded on these issues in a busy legislative environment, while it grew a brain trust of agencies from national governments, local and international NGOs, leaders across industries, and development institutions committed to the sustainable management of natural capital. The support that was once David became ICCF.
Seeing the success of the International Conservation Caucus and its supporting Caucus Foundation, a group of us decided to form a second caucus, one dedicated to oceans and marine issues, like the global fight against IUU pirate fishing and against plastic marine debris, and to help with the sponsoring of multinational treaties and the Save Our Seas Act and the Blue Globe Act, among others. The Oceans Caucus has tackled the scourge of plastic waste washing up on shores from coast to coast. We improved America's ability to clean up, to advance international cooperation with nations responsible for the majority of trash entering the oceans. And we explored innovative ways to manage and even reuse plastic waste.
Political issues can often divide us on Capitol Hill, but through the caucus model, we have a non-binding medium that draws its strength from legislators crossing the aisle. Multi-partisan collaboration, the creation of an open space for dialogue and perspectives, consensus seeking, and private sector engagement. These are the tenets within the legislative process that can allow representatives to make real progress on vital issues, like the health of our planet, while they foster an environment to advance development, and most importantly, sustainability.
Simply put, conservation and responsible development can and should reinforce each other. It always comes down to finding that center, to finding solutions that are not only good for the planet, but for economies, for individuals, for families, and local communities as well. ICCF has been an effective force in bringing together members from both sides of the aisle to develop and support legislation that will help protect our world's natural resources for future generations.
The United Nations, the Global Environment Facility, USAID, the World Bank, international corporations, and other conservation groups got acquainted with the caucus model while participating in ICCF events in Washington. Inspired by its bipartisan effectiveness, they considered it as a potential model for conservation governance in other parliaments across the world.
El modelo de Caucus nos trae eso, y me remito a los hechos. Desde 2012, los formuladores de políticas han logrado enormes avances en la gobernanza de la conservación, mejorando la comprensión de los problemas e impulsando las políticas. La protección en Colombia de los páramos, tierras altas andinas, el fortalecimiento del marco legal de Gabón a través de la aprobación de su Código de Minería, las leyes de desarrollo forestal sostenible de México, la ley de conservación de la vida silvestre de Kenia, la regulación de plásticos de un solo uso de Perú para todo el país, la política nacional de humedales de Zambia. Estos son algunos de los impactos que ha tenido el modelo de Caucus en los últimos años.
La voluntad política no es suficiente si no contamos con estructuras gubernamentales sólidas que nos permitan hacer realidad nuestras necesidades. Lo que necesitan los legisladores alrededor del mundo es apoyo para la creación y el fortalecimiento de sus capacidades en estrecha relación con actores y expertos a través de alianzas estratégicas con los diversos sectores de la sociedad.
The conservation community has a unique opportunity to address these conservation challenges by finding coherence in how we invest and in how we form policies at the global and at the national level. That is why parliamentarians are so key. They are the ones who approve and allocate financial resources at the country level. This caucus model is successfully engaging these legislatures, and as more countries see its success, they too are embracing it. There is much work left to be done, but I am optimistic that we now have a solution that will make it happen.
Todo esto con una meta en común, un presente digno y un mañana mejor.